Hey guys, today's video is on iPads, and yes, I'm going to need a drink for this one. I'm drinking Elijah Craig Small Batch. This stuff is really good. You can find it pretty much everywhere, and if you're into bourbon, I recommend you give that one a shot. It goes for about $32, and pretty much all of the good, reasonably priced bourbons are gone on the shelves. It's like a big run on bourbon in the last year. It's crazy. It's like the new drink. And I think people are like hoarding it in their basements or something. It's kind of crazy. It's not like it's gold bars that they're finding for pennies on a dollar, but whatever. There's still a lot of good ones out there that you can find, and this is one of them. So the cost is why I'm drinking. No, I'm not this kid that is going to buy the newest and latest, greatest thing, do a review on YouTube, and then return it. Paid for this $1,100 leaving my checking account. It hurts a bit, guys, especially when I have an iPad that is pretty much doing most of what I want it to do. And to give you a little back history, I purchased a iPad 12.9 inch Pro in 2017. It's been going on 4 years now, and this thing has been rock solid. And the first time I've ever like really used it, we had a friend of ours, her son was over on the holidays, and he had one just like this, exactly like this, Apple Pencil. He even had the same little magnetic thing on his, except for it had a silicone back. And I did buy that silicone back. And actually, he had a Gen 1. This is a Gen 2. Because I remember I wanted I wanted everything exactly what he had. And the holes didn't line up. And on that one, I had to drill the holes out for the microphone because it fit the iPad. And it looked good. It felt good in the hand. And it was very functional. The screen was awesome. The Apple Pencil worked phenomenal. And I just had to have it. So that following week, I went on the internet, bought it, and I've been using mine ever since. Now, again, this is my 2017. It's a second gen, 12.9. And I use this thing constantly, guys, literally night and day. My wife says it's glued to my hand. And the battery works as good as the day I had it. It's fast. It doesn't lag. It doesn't crash on me. Well, maybe once or two, like in 4 years. And I was coming from a Samsung Pro tablet. It was like around the same size, like a 12 inch. I forget the exact measurements. The thing had a phenomenal screen, good form factor, but clunky operating system. It would crash all the time. The battery was flickering, or the screen was flickering because of the battery. And I was looking to get a new iPad, and I knew as soon as I used his for like a half hour when he was over, I knew I had to have it. This thing's been clutch. Crazy fast. It's got the silica chip. I do all of my video editing, photo editing. Well, most of my photo editing, the mild photo editing. Something that's really complicated, really intricate, I'll still use the computer. Just because even if Adobe says they have a full version for the iOS, it's not a full version. It's not like the PC version. But to be able to use the pencil is just, it's amazing. Now, it's so great. Why do I want to upgrade? Now, I wouldn't be upgrading this thing if it wasn't for these few things. Now, fast forward to about 6 months ago, I purchased my son a iPad Air. This is I think 4th generation. It's whatever the newest one is. It's got the newer version of chip that I had in my 12.9, and it's got the USB-C. It's got a lot of updates, and it's the 11 inch. Now, you couldn't have given me an 11 inch when I had this thing. For years, I said no. I would go in the store. I'd play around with the 11 inch. It's just too small. Not having it. I need that screen real estate. This isn't, quote unquote, that much of a trouble to carry with me. It's not that much trouble to drag around the house. It's not, again, air quotes, that much trouble. And I've dropped this, I don't know how, countless many times, but I've also taken it out on vacation. Now, when I go stay at a hotel, it stays in the hotel. Or when we go on a trip, it stays in the hotel. I lock it in the safe. I don't really take it to work. I don't really take it out. And it's one of those things you don't notice right away. You might not notice a year or two, but like maybe 2 or 3 years, you're like, I don't take this thing with me much. And the reason is because it's just the size. It's just kind of big. And my son's into karate. We'll go up to the karate studio. And I've taken this a couple times. And that's when it kind of, you start realizing that if I wanted to take this out with me more, I needed something a little bit smaller form factor. Not only is this just as productive, is the transition going from a 12.9 to 11-inch was pretty much seamless, meaning I wasn't wanting the bigger screen. It wasn't just productive, it was fine. Yes, I mean, obviously you always want screen real estate, but I didn't, when I was editing, I wasn't never finding myself like I am on my phone to say, oh, this is just clunky, this is just too small, I'll deal with this when I get home. Because I have used LumaFusion on my phone, believe it or not. And this was not like that. In the form factor, it's lighter. It's obviously much smaller. If you put these up side by side, huge difference. And yes, the new 12.9 inch is a little smaller than mine, but just the same, it's substantially bigger. And it got me thinking, hey, I could do the 11-inch, and if I did the 11-inch, I could fit it in a camera bag. So I ran upstairs and got my trusty camera bag, which I've been using this thing for quite a while. I really like this one. And a lot of camera bags will say, and I don't shoot photography professionally, this is just a hobby of mine. A lot of them will say, it'll fit 11-inch iPad. Sure enough, easy peasy, zips, room to spare. I'm like, man, that would be clutch. Just to be able to not leave it at the hotel with me, but to actually carry it in my bag. Because sometimes we're waiting in line, or I'm waiting on my wife in a store, or when we're on vacation or whatever, and I'm always on my phone. I'm transferring pictures on my phone, uploading them to the cloud, or publishing for family members can view them. And I don't like looking at pictures on the phone. I mean, it's better than nothing, but it's not anywhere near what I've done on my tablet, not even close. So again, it's just that progression is maybe I'll do something smaller. Maybe I'll look at something smaller. Then Apple dropped the new M1 iPad Pro, and people are going just crazy on this thing. Oh, the M1, and I'm like, time out, people, time out. The M1 was born out of the silica chip, meaning that I don't know if it was this iPad 12 point, the Gen 2s, or if it was one after, but they based the M1 chip off of the iPad. The iPad is a silica chip. And yes, it's a higher performance chip, but this iPad 12.9 was phenomenal. My son's upgraded chip, I don't know if it's an A6, A9, but it's got the newer A series chip, a silica chip in his iPad Air 11-inch, and it's fast. Is this going to be faster? Okay, yes, it's going to be faster. It's a newer chip. But can you tell much of a difference? And probably not, right? And I knew this getting into it. It wasn't like, oh, I got to have that M1. Because anybody that's got an iPad know that it's not the hardware on any of the newer, when I say newer, 4 years since mine up, has been any kind of shortcoming in hardware. It's always been software and how to utilize the full capabilities of that hardware. That's where Apple and the app developers have always kind of like fell a little short. So I didn't buy it for the M1. It was nice to have because it does kind of future-proof me a little bit if Apple really opens up the iPad operating system and gives you more functionality that maybe you can have in a Mac. For example, like printing. If I want to print some photos, I would love to sit on my iPad Pro and be able to go into a real like photo editing software. And they're getting close. Don't get me wrong. Adobe's made great leaps. But say you want to go print it. I can print it, but I'm going to print it just like a black and white PDF photo. That's the only thing the operating system can really do. I have to go into the Adobe or whatever software I'm using to crop it down and set my printer parameters and whatever printer settings that I want to use. To me, those are the things that are really lacking in the operating system. But I have a Mac, so it's not that huge of a deal. Again, I'll use this tablet, this iPad, like 95, 98% of the time. And every once in a while, I have to go to the Mac. And every really once in a while, I have to go to a PC because you might have a device that you need to upgrade the drivers on, and it'll only work for on a Windows machine. So we still have one in the basement. My son's got a couple as well, but you always have to have a Windows PC. I don't know why in 2021 we do, but we still have to have one around. So getting back to the story, it really got me thinking, hey, I want to go mobile. I want something smaller. I want something still usable. And I'm going to upgrade, especially since they just launched the new iPad Pro, because I have a couple shortcomings on my 12.9. One of them is this lightning port. Lightning port sucks. I mean, if you want to charge your pencil, Apple Pencil, you stick it in the bottom. People call it the unicorn. It's stupid as hell. You can easily snap it off. And I'm not saying that the lightning cable is stupid because of the pencil. That's just one of many. It's the data transfer speeds. It's just slow. If you're transferring pictures, or if you want to use an external hard drive for video files, and the video files really is what has come to light for me. As I'm doing more video, the transfer speeds are more and more important to me. If I had a USB-C, like my son's Air, he's got a USB-C. The previous generations of iPads Pros have the USB-C port, and those transfer speeds would be probably fine for me. One of the things around the transfer speed is the LumaFusion. Now, LumaFusion, there's speculation that LumaFusion is going to allow you to even work off of a fast hard drive. And I picked this up a little while ago. This is a SanDisk 1 terabyte portable SSD, and this thing is fast as heck. It's basically a gig per second. At least that's their published speeds. I haven't been able to get a gig out of this thing even on the new one, but it opens up more possibilities in video for me because I need storage and I have more options. I can, upgrade the storage externally, but 64 gigabytes, man, it just wasn't cutting it. I was deleting videos even to finish my current project, because if you're using LumaFusion, you'll know that when you're done with it, you have those files on your computer, and then it has to transcode and then create another video file. So you have to have like one or two times what your files have in order to create your end result video. And I would always run out. I'd delete pictures and delete more pictures. It was just such a pain. It's so aggravating, you don't even know. So that's one of the biggest reasons is internal space. I only have 64. The other thing for being mobile is the Wi-Fi. If you guys, I'm sure you've gone to hotels, at least most people watching this video, you've probably stayed at a hotel. When they say free Wi-Fi, they don't mean that it'll actually work or you can actually do nothing more than send a text message or an email to someone. If you want to transfer pictures or any kind of data, forget about it. For the most part, there might be some rare occasions that I haven't experienced, but it's horrible. And yes, you can tether. I have a tethering ability on my iPhone, but it just doesn't seem like it's as fast. I think the logic, I don't know if it's going through, it is a third-party device, like it's transferring through and it's throttling it down, but it's not as fast as going directly from my iPhone, and it is a battery drain. When you have your phone, I need my phone for GPS and just be able to make calls. I don't want it to be like such a battery drain where my phone's half dead because I was using it to tether my iPad. I actually thought about buying the previous generation of the 11-inch Pro, but there wasn't any sales. I looked around and I'm like, yeah, for like an extra $150 or something like that, I could get the M1, the latest and greatest. So I was on the fence about, do I get the new generation, the M1, the 2021, or do I buy maybe even a used? I don't like buying used stuff too much because I've had bad experiences. So to summarize, my first couple initial days with this iPad M1 is basically it's an iPad. you're not going to notice, at least if you're coming from a few-year-old iPad Pro or one of the recent iPad Airs, you're not going to really notice anything. The screen quality is on par. The fluidness as far as movement is on par. Especially if you have a USB-C, the data transfer is good. It's been good for a while. Battery life and all that stuff, it's going to be about the same. Same as in good. It just, be careful. If you guys are just running out to buy an iPad Pro and upgrade if you have some, other one that's been working for you just because it's got the M1, I'm telling you to stop and think and be careful, or if you're going to do the 12.9, go to the store, look at the 12.9, the XDR. These guys are just getting excited because, they're doing videos. They want people to click on them. So the real world, it's not that exciting. Yes, I wish I had it an 11-inch. I think it's an upgrade, but not at the cost of size and battery life. If they can figure out how to do that, I'm all for it. Now, I am planning to do some more videos comparing some of the new features against some of the older iPads. So if that interests you guys, please check back, and thanks for watching this video. Take care. Bye.